Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the African Wahala. Thank you for joining me today on this platform. We talk about African situations as far as politics, especially politics, is concerned. We talk about social, economic situations, everything that relates to the continent of Africa and its people and the environment, of course. So, starting off with the political space in the African continent. I mean, we are used to having nothing but tyrants, dictators, greedy, selfish politicians that have forced themselves into positions of power. And even when they no longer have the capacity to continue with their leadership, they refuse to step down. We've seen an extreme case. We've seen many extreme cases, but we recently saw an extreme case with the president of Cameroun, Paul Biya, whom, by the way, has been there since 1980. This guy has been the president of Cameroon since 1980. So that is 43 years. Well, he was once the prime minister. Then in 1982, he became the president. Okay, so this guy has been in the helm of affairs for at least 40-something years. And guess what? If you're talking about Cameroon, you can only think about many negative things. Don't get it wrong, Cameroon is a beautiful country, beautiful people, lots of natural resources, intelligent people. But unfortunately, just like many other African countries, they have been plagued with nothing but tyrant politicians that have forced themselves into power. Now, I'm going to show you guys a quick video of their president, Paul Biya. He was recently at the US Africa Summit organized in Washington, D.C. Listen, this is even something very ridiculous. The United States of America claims that there is a US Africa Summit for the benefit of Africans and the US and the entire world, I guess. But that US Africa Summit that is supposed to have 50-something African leaders meet with maybe about 10 US government officials. The 50-something African leaders have to travel all the way to the United States to meet up with the officials of the US. And trust me, African politicians, they have 5 personal assistants, 10 drivers, 10 cooks. So each team in the African contingent has about 15 people, and 15 times 50-something countries. They get all themselves all the way to the United States, wasting resources, wasting money. Why couldn't the United States officials travel to Africa? Wouldn't it have made more sense if 15 officials from the United States traveled to maybe Ethiopia, the head of the AU, African Union, and have that meeting with the African politicians? Of course, none of this stuff makes sense. The truth is, the meeting in itself in the first place is not for the benefit of Africans or American people. It's for the benefit of the US government. Now, the African politicians that participate in the meeting, their benefit is the crumbs that they can get from the US government. And also, they have to be puppets, obviously. You have to be a puppet of the US government and any other government of the world to be a part of such summit. The US government always claims that, man, we love democracy. We want our democratic principles to spread across the continent of Africa. And in the same breath, they are inviting thugs, tyrants like Paul Biya, whom, by the way, completely embarrassed himself and the country of Cameroon. They are inviting thugs like Buhari, the president of Nigeria, whom, by the way, is an embarrassment to himself and the entire country of Nigeria. They invite crooks like Museveni of Uganda to the US Africa Summit for a meeting that is supposed to be for the benefit of African people and America. It's a joke. So the United States government is obviously complicit in the subjugation that African people feel from their leaders. Now I'm going to quickly show you a video of the Cameroon's president disgracing himself, completely embarrassing himself and his entire country. I mean, it's not even embarrassing his country, it's just himself that is embarrassing. That's my opinion. Because there is no way you can be this sick, demented. You don't have anything good going on with you, but you still choose to remain in power and go out there in the face of the world disgracing yourself.
Pourquoi je suis en vedette? C'est qui tous ces gens qui sont là? Pourquoi je peux demander ça? Est-ce qu'il y a des gens importants là?
Sorry, I'm gonna have to give you the context to this video before playing the video so you understand what is going on. So Cameroun's president, Paul Biya, he is at the US Africa Summit, and in the summit, he is invited to the podium to make a speech regarding the relationship between the US and Africa for the benefit of both regions of the world, right? So this guy is 89 years old. He has been the president for 40-something years. He's sick. He literally has Alzheimer's disease, proven. The guy has no clue what is going on, but he has forced himself to remain in power. If you dare speak up against Paul Biya in Cameroon, you are probably going to lose your life, or at least you're going to lose your freedom. At least. That's how it works in Cameroon with Paul Biya. Now, he finds himself at the US Africa Summit, about to make a speech, but he completely has no idea that he is even in a summit to begin with. And in all honesty, this happens to a lot of older people where, they start having some memory loss issues. They start having dementia and Alzheimer's disease, depending on the kind of lifestyle they have lived or their, family hereditary situation and stuff. But it happens to the best of us, okay? Logically, if you are unfit, if you are sick, you shouldn't force yourself to remain the president of a country, especially a country that is not doing well, a country that is by far below its potentials. Yet they are not able to maximize their potentials in any way, shape, or form. They have 50% unemployed people in Cameroon. They have some of the worst healthcare situation. They have the Amazonian crisis. There is so many conflicts going on in Cameroon. There is endemic corruption, but then you have the president, sick, demented, has no clue what he's doing, forces himself to remain in power. Now, he has completely embarrassed himself, but I don't even think the embarrassment really means much, because regardless the embarrassment, he is still going to force himself to remain in power. But read the caption in case you do not understand French or the language they are speaking. It is translated at the bottom.
Je suis en vedette. C'est qui tous ces gens qui sont là? Pourquoi je peux demander ça? Est-ce qu'il y a des gens importants là?
Les ministres, il est parti introduit. Le monsieur vous a introduit. Il y avait un monsieur qui vous a introduit.
Je dois parler maintenant. Je vous
restez vous pouvez parler
ici.
Oui.
Pourquoi?
So Paul Biya completely forgets that he is in the middle of a press conference, and his aides, the people that they clean his ass, they wipe his ass and stuff like that, they are all billionaires too, because you have to be affiliated to the top politicians in order for you to feed your family. That's how it works in a lot of our countries, which is very unfortunate. It's not about merit. It's not a merit-based system where you really know the job that you're hired for. No, the way it works is if you are connected to the individuals that are in power, if you're from the same ethnic group, or you're like their family members or their girlfriends, family members, or their wives, cousins, that's how you get into those positions. And that's why you're seeing that aide of Paul Biya whispering in his ears, telling him that, listen, we are in the middle of a press conference. It's time for you to speak. The president of Rwanda just finished speaking. The press conference, by the way, is the US Africa Summit that recently took place, which was a complete joke in itself. The aide was telling him, you have to speak now. The president of Rwanda just finished speaking. It's time for you to speak. And Paul Biya is completely confused. He has no clue what is happening. He's asking questions like, am I a celebrity? How come there are so many people here? What's going on? Bro, you are in the middle of a press conference. And you know what's so unfortunate? I tell you the truth, man. These things happen consistently. And we all know that these guys have no reason to be in power, but we are unable to do anything about it. When you go out there to protest, they are going to use their policemen and their soldiers to kill you for protesting. And if you're a voice, then you stand a great chance at ending up in their prisons because they control the judiciary system, the military, everything else in their countries. These rogues, these ragtag criminals, politicians from across the continent of Africa that have kept us impoverished, they are puppets to the imperialists from all over the world. And all their only job there is to get rich and sell us, the people, off to the highest bidder. That's how it works. Sometimes to the lowest bidder. They don't even care. Recently, we saw a news come out of the same guy, Paul Biya, 89-year-old president of Cameroon. He has been there since 1982, 40-something years. Has no clue how to run a country, completely destroyed the economy, made corruption legal, legalized corruption among government officials. That's what Paul Biya's legacy is. I know a lot of people are going to be feeling sorry. Oh, he's an old man. Oh, he needs to go play with his grandchildren. No, he needs to go to prison. That's what he deserves. It's not about allowing our emotions take over us when it's time to hold the same people that put us in this mess accountable. We have to hold them accountable if possible. I know it's almost impossible because they are the ones that own the judiciary systems in their countries. So it's impossible to throw them in prison. But if it was possible, they need to be held accountable and punished for their crimes. That's the only way we can have some sort of restitution. It's ridiculous, man. This guy is old, sick, demented. He has no clue where he is. He's in the middle of a conference, disgracing himself. He doesn't even recognize his own son. Anyways, apart from that situation going on, then you have Nigeria. Obviously, we always have to talk about Nigeria. The Nigerian political space is also bracing to put in a similar character to become its next president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, apart from the fact that the guy is old, sick, demented, has no clue who he is, what his name is, where he is, and what his job is. Apart from all those facts that exist about this guy, Tinubu, he has a long track record of being a criminal. But guess what? He stands the highest chance in becoming the next president of Nigeria in the next elections. But the Obi movement, which, by the way, a part of me does not like it. I'm not going to lie to myself. I don't like the movement, but I like it at the same time. I like the movement because it is giving these guys, these rogues like Tinubu, Atiku, and the rest of them from that generation that have destroyed the country, it is giving them a run for their money. And that's what we need. Yeah, we definitely need that. I personally believe that if Obi becomes victorious in the next elections, he's not going to solve the problems. He's not even going to come close to. I don't even think he's going to move the country 1 inch towards progress. I personally don't believe, because I have my reasons. I'm not going to go into berating Obi in this video because the obedience get very upset easily. But I like the fact that the movement is strongly against rogues like Tinubu that are hell-bent in leading a country that is almost about to completely collapse. Nigeria is at a point where nothing is holding, nothing is working anymore. But an old, sick, demented career criminal is forcing himself to become the next president. Just like we saw with the case of Cameroon recently. Their president, sick, old, demented criminal, career criminal as well, now disgracing himself all over the world. Press conferences, can't remember where he is. And that's probably the same thing that would happen with Tinubu if he becomes the president. Mind you, he's about to take over from another old, sick, demented criminal, Buhari. And that's the Nigerian Wahala. That is the African Wahala for you. So I just wanted to show you guys quick evidences why we are where we are as a people. Okay, you have some of the most strategically located countries, supposed to be the most prosperous countries in the entire world, with tons of natural resources, tons of human resources, unable to maximize their potentials because the people that are in charge of those countries are nothing but rogues. And when they don't even have the capacity to do their jobs, like in the case of Tinubu, like in the case of Paul Biya, sick, old, demented, literally have Alzheimer's disease, they still want to remain in power because it is their right. According to this clown, Tinubu, this goofball, Tinubu said, what the audacity, bro? Emilokon means it is my turn to become your president. Even though I am a billionaire today as a result of looting you guys dry, putting millions of you in poverty, completely destroying the security infrastructure in the country. I am a billionaire. I have my private jet. I have my 500 police officers and soldiers with their machine guns that protect me. And it is my turn to become your president simply because I have to put it on my resume. So it's a joke. So with that being said, we're going to go to the next topic. Just a quick conversation, just a quick live stream. I'll be out of here in about 5 minutes. We have the Chatham House situation. You know, a lot of Nigerian politicians, they love going to the Chatham House in the UK for their presidential campaigns, which to me is an absolute disgrace. It's another reason why we are not taken seriously around the world. It's another reason why we African people, man, we remain at the bottom of the food chain, point blank and period. It's ridiculous. Nigerian presidential contestants, they all go to the Chatham House in UK. What is the Chatham House? According to what I read on Wikipedia, the Chatham House is an organization, an institute that gives its opinions on political matters around the world. So fair enough, if I'm going to play devil's advocate for the Chatham House, they are doing their job. Their job is to participate in political conversations from all around the world. But where it is, I can never agree with, is these clowns that call themselves Nigerian politicians. Yeah? They all go to the Chatham House hurriedly to explain to the Chatham House why they are the best presidential candidates for Nigeria. If that is not slavery, if that is not an inferior, weak mindset, I don't know what else is. The same people that colonized us, that forcefully created a country that has never worked. We today, the people that we aspire to, they run to the same place in the same country for validation. How can anybody take you seriously? So the Chatham House charade going on with these Nigerian politicians, in my opinion, is an absolute joke. It's a disgrace. It's nothing to be proud about. I know a lot of you guys love these politicians differently, and you're going to be like, did you see how my candidate was speaking at the Chatham House? He was so intelligent. That is my candidate. But he's a clown. Your candidate is a clown. Okay, they are all clowns. Each and every last one of them that goes to the Chatham House for validation, they are clowns. I'm going to end up this live stream by showing you a brave, bold statement made by Sowore, one of the Nigerian presidential candidates, to the cabal, the guys that have destroyed Nigeria. We all know them. We know these people. They've been there since 1960. They've been the same faces that we've seen in our leadership spaces. We know them. They've been there since 1960. And Sowore came out in a so-called peace accord. a meeting amongst presidential candidates to sign off on a peace agreement so that they don't start tearing their heads apart. Because when it's time for elections in Nigeria, it's a time for war. People literally die, tens, 20s, scores of people, hundreds of people sometimes lose their lives whenever it's election season. So they decided to put up a peace accord where the presidential candidates can stop tearing their heads apart. Because right now we have two presidential candidates, Atiku and Tinubu, trying to destroy each other, which in my opinion is rightfully so. They should both destroy each other. We will be happy. We, the people, will be extremely happy if Tinubu and Atiku can completely cancel each other out. Because these two guys are career criminals that have contributed to the destruction of Nigeria in the last 40 years. And because Nigeria is what Nigeria is, a lawless piece of geographical space, the criminals cannot be held accountable. Instead of them going to prison, they are billionaires and rewarded with top leadership positions. That is Nigeria. So with that being said, presidential candidate of AAC, Omoyele Sowore, he goes out there and he has this quick conversation with the organizers of the peace agreement.
Of Congress. And I'm going to be the president of Nigeria come after February 2023. So you all better be careful. I want to say here, and it's very important to me, that I observed one of the most peaceful elections in Nigeria in 1993. And we allowed that election to stand. We will not be signing a peace agreement today. Because that you are signing a peace agreement in Nigeria shows that elections have become war in Nigeria. This is the only country in the world where you sign a peace agreement during an election season as if we are at war. But that is what our elders did to Nigeria. And I think next time we should sign a peace agreement with the elders who are instigating violence in this country, or have them sign peace agreements between themselves. Because peace is not breached by poor people. Poor people suffer the consequences of violence. When you look at elections, the people that suffer the most are those poor women and men. And when there's a breakdown law and order in Nigeria, every rich man, politically connected, gets enough police protection, and they're able to get on the jet and leave Nigeria at the slightest provocation. This is where we are. And I should also say that some of the people that instigators of violence during the election are not in this hall. They are the vassal representatives of some of the men and women in this hall. They are state governors in particular. You need to get them to sign the peace accord. There are some of them as the most violent people in Nigeria. They demonstrated it in Kogi State. A woman was burnt alive in her house. Until today, the killers of those women or that woman have not been fished out in Nigeria. In Kano, there is someone campaigning that if they don't win the election, they will kill everybody in Kano. In Borno State, it's the same thing. You go to Lagos, where the APC will swear, you cannot.
Listen, I'm just going to leave the link to that video in the comment section in case you're interested. You want to watch the full thing. I'm going to paste it there right now for you to click on it. It's a video on Sowore's Twitter page. I just put that in the comment section, by the way. So yeah, the bottom line is, in Nigeria and many other African countries, the people that would call you to come and sign a peace accord, okay, for peace sake, they are some of the most violent, the most murderous, violent criminals you would ever come across in the history of mankind. They are the same people that will sit down on the high table and call you to come and sign a peace accord. I'm talking about absolute murderers. Like in that meeting, one of the guys there that was organizing a peace accord, this guy is responsible for the illegal constitution that Nigeria currently runs under. But he has the guts to organize an event for the peace of Nigeria when he single-handedly contributed maybe 50% of the troubles we're currently facing. And that's the African Wahala. But thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of the African Wahala. I have been off for a while. I've been extremely busy doing non-YouTube content creating related stuff. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get other things put together outside of this. So I will try to come in as more frequent as I can. But I appreciate you guys for watching this. Click on the like button, subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content where we speak about African politics, socio-economic types of situations, and click, share the video and all that good stuff. Thank you for joining me. Peace. Jimmy Bones, thanks for coming through, brother.